G'day everyone, welcome to another edition of Craps Down Under. Today we're going to continue building the bankroll, and I need to correct for a mistake on the last video when I was colouring up. I actually I had 5 greens and I handed myself back a black chip, so I'm actually down $25. And another viewer also commented on a couple of videos back when I paid myself 21. I think I paid that and I took $1 out of my rack, so I believe I shortchanged myself $1. So I'm going to add that one in as well. That'll also allow me to clean this up, so I'll do that. So that gets us keeps our, I guess, our bankroll accurate. Given I've got there, I can actually upgrade that to a black. Alright, so if we go over it, we've got one at 500 as a reserve, we've got 2 at 500, we've got 500 in our rack, so that's 1500, and we've got 400 and $10. So on my video when I posted, I think I said it was 1909 was our actual bankroll. So accounting for that extra $1 that I'd shortchanged, which is just brought to my attention this morning, basically our bankroll is 1910. So we need to make $90. That's what we're aiming for. $90 to get to our 2K mark. I'm still going to make the target 100 or 100 to 150. There was another point also discussed with Rob about a lot of my sessions I'm ending and we have a hot shooter, and it's literally just as the table's trending warm that we managed to catch the start of a long roll. So there is an option where if we meet our profit target, we could at least reserve a little bit of our profit and use that to go for it. The risk is that if we need to be also prepared to accept a lower profit, so we might be jeopardizing some of our profit target to keep it on the board, and we need to recognize that that's what we're doing. And if the gamble doesn't pay off, if this sort of bonus go for it play doesn't pan out and we do lose it, we need to accept that and just say, well, that was our profit target, because if we don't do that, we'll be going around in an endless spiral of trying to chase, and it's a bit of a greed kind of cycle that we'd be going around in. And I don't want to fall into that either. So if I do a bonus play, it's a deliberate choice to do that as a bonus play, and when it ends, it ends, good or bad. We take our money off the board and we go to the cage and cash it up. So that's kind of the way I would approach that, playing a bonus play at the end to try and exploit that hot shooter that we might be, catching. So and we can really only kind of start to do that now because our profit target is in that sort of higher range of 100 to 150. At the lower profit targets, it's just too much of a percentage of your profit to keep it on the felt. But now we're in that sort of 100 to 150, you can afford to keep, say $20, somewhere around that on the felt, and see where you can go with it. So I'll take these back. So there's a little bit of things we may do. We'll just see what happens in the session. I'm still fairly cautious about those kinds of things because they can very quickly degenerate into uncontrolled betting, and the target's there for a reason. It's to keep us focused on an objective, and when we've met that objective, that we don't outstay our welcome, and we take our profit. Don't look the gift horse in the mouth. We take our profit and go to the cage and get back dollars. Alright, so I've got my bankroll ready to play. So I think we'll probably play play at the 2 unit level. So we can start at a modest level. We can try a press and then try and get the 2 collects, and that will then you know, set us in good shape. So I will work. I still don't know what the table's going to do, but in general I think we are better to work. Alright, so coming out, we've got 3, doesn't do anything for us. Got a 5. Alright, so 5's the point, pays 15 for 1. So remember our profit target is 90, well, to get to our 2k is $90. So there's 15 of it, but I'm not going to rack it. We're going to go for the press. We are putting a little bit on the felt extra, a couple of bucks extra, and we'll see how we go. 12 midnight. The shooters rolled 2 junk numbers. They've rolled an 8, fantastic. So we got our 2 hits, so we can't complain about that at all. So we've got our 3 units, so we're going to get paid 21. Alright, so now's a chance to regress down back to the 2. So we've taken pretty much taken all of our risk off the table. So we've taken back $17, plus we also took back 21. So we've got some profit in our rack, not a lot, but it's still profit in our rack. So this is where we're hoping we can get a shooter that maybe gets a few more hits. 3, so that's their 3rd rubbish number. And unfortunately, a 7 did show. So if we had taken our action down, we would have locked up $34 more in our rack. So that's kind of, the shooter wasn't being efficient, so I was actually playing probably a little bit risky there, because they were actually hitting some rubbish numbers and we were still staying up on them, hoping to try and get a couple of hits. But it was okay. We were still in the profit, so it wasn't, you know, reckless or anything. Alright, but it wasn't optimal because we had enough signs that they were not being efficient in hitting the numbers we were on. So here we are working. We've got an 8, so 8's the point. Alright, so I've set the point here. I'm going to get it paid our 15 for 1, and we're going to do the press. That, get back up. Oh, whoops, fell off. Alright, so here we go. We've got a 5, fantastic. So the shooter's being a little bit more efficient in what they're hitting. It's going to pay 21. 21. I can take all that down, go back down to the 2. As you can see, just what's in our rack, because remember we took 20 out of here, so we do have a few dollars of profit that we've accumulated over those 2. We're just hoping if we can get one more hit here, that kind of really helps to you know, consolidate some profit against our target, not just make a little bit. So great, there we go. We're going to get another 15 in our rack for that one. Well, 14 technically. So there we go. We've got our whites here, plus we've got our action on the felt. The shooter hasn't rolled anything other than the numbers we're on, so I'm actually prepared to keep indulging them. They haven't rolled anything else other than the numbers we're on. It's 7, so didn't do any better or worse than the last shooter. But they did everything right, but 7 will still show. So again, we left, that's another, now just keeping note of that, that's another 34. So if we'd have, here's the question, if we had taken that back, we would now have $68 extra in our rack. We're literally almost at our target if we'd have just taken that money off the felt. So it's something to really be aware of. I don't think I'm playing this optimally with the rolls we're having. And maybe if only, instead of leaving the 2 units up, if I'd only left the 1 unit up, that still would have been, you know, an extra 34 in my rack that we don't have. So that's something to be aware of. So I may actually, if we can do the same again, I may actually just go down to the 1 unit and build up from there and not leave it at that higher level, because we haven't really got a lot of profit out of those 2 runs. We've been profitable, but not enough. That's a yo. And we've got a 5, so 5's the point. All right, so we're going to get paid 15 for 1. So we'll do the press. All right. And we've got the 5 back to back. So the shooter's made their point. Again, if we're on the OHCM, we'd be complaining because we don't like to see that. We don't like to see shooters hitting their points on the OHCM. Alright, so let's drop this down. Now of course this may be the round that we regret dropping down on, but we've been caught twice already, so it's not a bad thing. We're still in the game. Alright, so do we work or not? I'm actually going to work. Didn't really benefit us working. We took the risk, but we didn't get any benefit for it because the points are 10. Alright, so I'll take that off. We're working. And there's a 7. So exactly the same thing has pretty much happened 3 times in a row. Got 2 hits, so the probability is kind of working correctly this time. It's kind of pretty close to what you'd expect. Getting the 2 hits is about a 50-50 chance. Getting 3 hits drops to around 34%. I actually believe getting 4 hits, it might have been 4 or 5, I did do the math on it, but 4 or 5 hits is actually about the same probability as getting a 7 on any particular roll. 7's come out 16%. Actually getting 4 hits actually has the same probability as a 7. So, you know, whenever you see a 7, you should have expected that you get 4 hits in here for every 7 you see. That's kind of the way it works mathematically. Now it's either 4 or 5. I might be understating it a little bit, so it could actually be the 5 hits, but I'd have to go and look at my math again. But just trying to sort of give you the basic kind of expectations that you would the math says you should see. So the 7, even though we are getting our hits here, we're still probably not seeing a 4-to-1 ratio. Is what I'm trying to get across. It's either 4-to-1 or 5-to-1. Alright, and we'll get some new dice. Okay, new dice. So again, we're working. And we've got to come out 7. So 7s are still ever present. They are, I think, hitting more frequently than the pure averages would dictate. Now I'm going to let the shooter set a point, so I won't do anything yet. Back-to-back 7. So again, my view of a shooter rolling 7s is that they seem, if they're rolling a couple of them on the come out, they're probably inclined to roll a few more in quick succession. So this shooter's efficiency And that's why I want to get across this efficiency. How many rolls are they using up, and how many rolls are actually relevant to what the bets we're on? So they've had three rolls, and not a single one of them is on a box. So they're, as far as their efficiency, they're like a zero. They've got no efficiency at all. They're not getting anywhere close to the numbers we're on, and it just keeps continuing. So we stay away from this shooter unless for some reason something changes. So finally they've hit a box number, but that's one. How many rolls they've had? I think we're up to either roll 5 or 6 or something. So I'm not going near them. Again, another rubbish number. Unless you're on the horn, then it's fantastic. It's not a rubbish number then. An outside number. So again, we're just not seeing any efficiency. They're not really hitting the numbers that we want them to hit. 9. 6, so they have actually come to the inside numbers where we are typically on these, so maybe we would have got 2 hits out of them. But when it goes that badly at the start, I tend to stay away from them. 10. 8. So they're all over the place. It's probably good if you're on the ATS maybe. So they've rolled midnight. Yeah, they've rolled a lot of different numbers. I don't think they've rolled an ace deuce yet. So they've hit their point. All right. So let's see what they do on this come out. 9. So 9's the point. So do we risk them? Do we risk this shooter? I'm kind of inclined to not go near them, but I'm also aware that they've rolled a lot of numbers. They haven't rolled any more 7s, so kind of, there we go. They were tempting me. I was getting tempted, but when I also recognise that when I'm getting tempted, sometimes it's a good idea to stay away. So I think we did well. Sure, we would have got a couple of hits, but given all the other stuff they were rolling, we gave the shooter a chance. They got us on the come out. That's more than enough chance, really. So we'll go up again. Get some new dice, new shooter. Let's see what happens here. So we'll be on. We've got an 8. So I love it when the shooter sets the point. That's on their first roll. That's usually a good thing. All right, so instead of doing the press, we could just do the collect. That's also something we can do. So that gives us almost about sort of half of our risk back. By doing the press, we're kind of extending our risk. So we could try that this time. Just do a collect as a 4. Back-to-back 4s. All right. 9, so we're not on the 9. Maybe one more roll and then I'll start thinking about turning off. 10. Oops, that rolled was a 10. So 6, 4, 10. So I'm kind of in that, they're just not hitting what we're on, but they are at least hitting box numbers. So it's I'm a bit perplexed. I could regress down, but then by doing that, I still would need another 3 hits to kind of recover what, if I regress down to 1 unit, I need sort of almost at least 2 hits to just cover what's on the felt. I need 3 hits to actually make something. So if I stay up, then I'm only requiring one more event, and then I can regress, and then everything is paid for. So it's one of those, so they're just rolling out sides, they're not rolling what we want to see. So that maybe is all we're going to get out of this shooter. I might just take all my action down. Just because, again, they're not hitting what we want to see. Doesn't mean they won't, they might go on a tear. 9, we're not on the 9. But they seem to be dodging these numbers. Oops, almost dropped it. So finally they've hit their point. So that was a 2. So just as we turned off, I can't get him to flip over. It was a 2, it was a 8. So they've hit their point. I'll just stay away. 4. Alright. So again, they're still not being efficient in terms of the numbers we want to see them hit. So yes, while they are hitting those, where you have to remember you're taking a risk on every roll. So every roll you're being exposed to is risk. So when I start looking at how efficient is the shooter being, that's what I'm kind of getting at. I'm taking a roll of risk. Am I getting something? And if I'm taking 3 or 4 or 5, okay, eventually they might hit the number. And we go, oh geez, we should have stayed on them. But you've taken all those rolls of risk and you've got nothing for it. So that's kind of why I'm staying away. It's because I'm having to take more and more rolls of risk, and maybe I'll get 1 and another 3 rolls of risk and then another 1. And I don't like doing that. I don't like having, you know, an inefficient shooter who's not actually hitting the numbers I'm on. You know, maybe they're not really getting repeaters on any of these numbers here. They're barely hitting them. So that's why I'm kind of staying away. There's a 5. Doesn't mean that the tone of their hand can't change. It can certainly change, and we've seen it kind of dabble in here. So it's starting to move to the inside. Do I want to risk them? I mean, we've already got a hit out of them. We don't really need to risk anything. We've got something out of them already. There's a 6. So they've moved in. So now the tone of their hand has changed. But it has gone on, and I'm also aware of the length of the average hand. And those averages are pretty good bearings. Midnight. But I'm also aware I don't want to be away on a shooter who's actually having a long roll either. It's a difficult one sometimes. Really difficult. So there's the 7. So I don't think if we'd have gone up that we really would have actually made too much for the risk. So I think we probably did the right thing. We took our $14. That's all we got out of them. That's okay. We succeeded on that shooter. Kind of what you're thinking of is profit per roll. How much profit are you getting per roll? And if it's not good, then probably best to be off them. Alright, so we'll be on. So this is a new shooter. I did grab some dice, but maybe you didn't see. So I'll do that. Grab some more. Let's come out. And we've got 6. Came hard. So we'll take that. I will have to pay it out exactly because I don't have any whites in my rack. So this one, do we want to try and do the press? Maybe we'll try the press. Given they've come straight out of the gate, hit the number we want them to hit. All right, so I should mark the point. All right, 8. So shooter's done everything good by us so far. So that's 21. And this is where I will now, based on our lessons that we've had at the start of the hand, probably best to just have the one unit. Get that extra 17 back in our rack. Doesn't mean certainly we can be missing out on some profit here, but that's okay. We've made profit. I'm not too fussed at this point. We've made some money. So they're hitting the 9, so maybe we could think about doing that. Maybe they'll get a repeater. Oh, they're on the 6 again, so they've hit their point. You think about how efficient has this shooter been. They've only hit these numbers. That's all they've hit. So it's the kind of thing you want to see. So there's $7. So we can do a press, or we can take up, expand, go a little bit wider, just collect the 2. I might do that. Now, do I want to work? This shooter has had a few rolls, but they're not rolling any rubbish, so I'm in that, maybe they can still roll 7. I will actually work, just because we are ahead on this shooter. 4. So it didn't hurt us, didn't help us. That's a yo, so now there's just like two wasted rolls. And do I want to stay up here? I've got 22 in action. I could put 22 back in my rack. Do I want to risk being up? Maybe I'll take these back. Maybe I'll do that. Just play the 6 and 8. We've got the 6. Alright. So it's not a lot. We're not winning a lot. Maybe we could just do that, press it. Maybe they'll get a repeat. At least put it up for a couple of rolls. 9. So, if we were wider, then that would have been a hit. So I'll see if they get a repeater. The 5. So it's 2 hits there that we've missed out on by being conservative. But again, those bets are now paid for. Well, they're now paid for. So it's only now at this point that we'd actually really, and if we got the hits, sure, we could have got the hit, take it down, got the hit, take it down, and we'd be ahead those extra 2 hits. But if we were to leave them up now, it's only now that they're paid for. 3. All right, so maybe I'll give them one more go, and then I'll take my little profit down there. So I haven't got the right amount. It's meant to be 2 whites on that. And we got the 6, so I'm not going to argue about that. That's a $15 winner. 15 for 1. So that's clearly paid for our action that we have on the table. Do I want to keep this up? Maybe I'll press this one. And there's a 7. So that's all right. We took a punt. Doesn't always work. We made money, and that's the main thing. The shooter made us money, and now we're using only profit at this point now for this roll. Alright, new shooter coming out, we're working, and there goes our profit. So we're using only profit. The house said, that's good, I'm taking it back. Alright, so all that blood, sweat and tears to get those chips all washed away in one fell swoop. Alright, so let's see what this shooter does. So 6. All right, so let's decide what we want to do. Might go up the 3. Try the 3 here, and you get a 5 there. Put 3 on here. Take the 5 back, and I'll do 2 and 2. So I'm going to go a little bit wider. 3. It's not helping us. So 2 of their rolls have been, well, 7 was bad, 2's rubbish. They've rolled 1 good roll, so their efficiency is a 3rd. And they got a 6, so they've hit their point. So sharp shooting, don't play the OHCM, you just got hurt. You got hurt twice by this shooter, if you were playing that. Alright, so that's 21. 21, so now we go down. Just go down to the 1 unit. Take this back. Alright, I'll be off. We're off by default, so I will be off. 7. So we avoided some $22 loss there. So we're still off. So ace deuce rubbish. Ace deuce back to back. So this is not filling me with confidence. 7 and 2 ace deuces. 3 ace deuces. So you talk about sequences and back-to-back 7s. We've just rolled a very improbable back-to-back ace deuce 3 times. So that's actually pretty good. And a yo. Wow. So that's 4 horn numbers back-to-back. That's the same as rolling 4 7s actually, back-to-back. That's the same probability. I'm not sure if I want to go near this shooter. Or you could take the contrary view. Oh, they got all the rubbish out on the come out. Now they're set to roll insides. So pick a side. Either one's going to be right and wrong half the time. So I can't predict the future. I don't know what's going to happen. But given where we're at, if I'm going to do anything, I will concentrate my bet on these 2 numbers. I've seen them when they set the point, they actually hit their point. Maybe they'll do the same. And in fact, potentially we could just put it all on the 1, but I don't want to be that narrow. Anyway, we'll see. I'll give it a roll or 2 and we'll see what happens. 6. Well, we got one. So that's fantastic. That's $15 or 14 for 1. So that pays for most of our action now on the table that we've got remaining. Not all of it, but a chunk of it. I could do that, take it down and just work the 8. That's another thing you can do. Don't have to. That one that bet, we took the risk. 1 roll, kind of got it. So we take it off. We can now do the same for this one. Yes, we'll miss out on some others, but that's okay. We've got some profit and it's locked up. 9. So we're not on the 9. 5. Okay, we're not on the 5 either. Ace deuce, I love that ace deuce. Alright, so 1 more go. Alright, they got it. See, don't be on the OHCM because you just got sharpshooted again. Yes, you did make some wins. You made some wins on those 3 ace deuces on the come out if you're playing OHCM, so that was something. I think you lost one of them to to a 7 and you lost another one to a yo, so you kind of ended up even after all of that. Maybe one ahead, yeah, one unit ahead, but now you've lost that one and you also lost the other one. So overall, nothing. You've kind of done your money for all that risk. All right, just hang on a sec. Apologies for that, just had to go to the front door. So where were we? Had an 8, and so we've got 2 on there. Now I don't think I paid it, so 15 for 1. And so shooters, let's take our action down. So pretty good. 300, 400, 500. We're kind of very close. So let's see what the shooter does. It's a new come out. So 7. Oh. So they're getting all their 7s out on the come out, which is great. That's what they've done. So let's see what they do next. They've set the point on the outside. All right, on a 10. So what do we want to do with this shooter? What do we want to do? Do we want to risk something on them? If I do something, I might do something like this. So it is a bit of risk because we're putting up 22, but we've had a couple of hits, so this action is paid for. So we are putting a bit of our profit at risk. But I'm going wide, and what the idea here I'm going to do, if I get a hit, I'll take it, pull it down. And in fact, I might just take, if it's a hits the 9, I might take both of those down and just work the 6 and 8. So I'm going to be very ruthless with the way how much rope I'm going to give this shooter from this point. They've got a yo. So that's not encouraging. A 9. All right, so we got one. 5, 4, 9. I'll take that. And taking my risk off the table, racking it up. So that's kind of basically paid for that one. So I can afford to leave them there. Oops. Hit the 10. So the shooters hit their point. Again, no ACM. Here's a shooter that's doing everything you want on a light side, and you're getting killed. You probably wouldn't be on it at this point. You probably would have given up. All right, so new come out. We're off. We'll stay off. Wow, love it. Getting all their 7s out on the come out. Love it. They're on the 8. All right. So it's really, the biggest thing in the game is the timing of when the 7s happen. It's literally all it comes down to. It's the timing of those 7s that'll really determine your fate. So we're working. We'll see what we get. 3. Now we could be bolder and press it up, but I'm not really inclined to do that. Realise the shooter's kind of had a long run. All right, 10, so that doesn't affect us. 3, all right. So maybe I'll take that one back. In fact, I might just do that. I might just put it on the 8. And 7, okay. So didn't get there, they didn't get their extra point, but it was worth a shot. We didn't risk too much, it was $12, and clearly we've done okay on that shooter. Despite we did get caught by them. So we're kind of floating around, not really getting too far at the moment. So I'm aware of that we're not getting where we want to get. I want to get in and get out. So, all right. Let's new shooter coming out. We're working, of course, on the 4. Doesn't hurt and doesn't help. Don't need that on anymore. And we've got an 8. Alright. So that pays us 15 for 1. So let's try and do our press. Try and do the press. And we've got a 6, fantastic, so we got it. That's it's a 21. So we can take that. I'm going to actually run it another go. Tempt fate. 3. And we've got a 6. Alright, so that's another $21 winner. Just need a couple of these. I'm aware of that this actually has gone on a little while. So I'm going to call it a win. Because we're at our target. We don't need to do any more. And it's been a little bit of a grind. So we've made our target. I'm just going to end it there. Now, do I want to do a bonus bet on these guys? I could. We could do that. Maybe play the 6 and 8. Yeah, we could do that. Just play the 6 and 8 and see what comes of that. In fact, we could do the... there we are. So we've made our $100 target. Alright, so clearly 300, 400, 500, 600. So we can sacrifice a little bit of money here. See what we can do with it. 8. Alright. So this is bonus round. Whatever happens here, kind of don't care. I'll just keep it separate. I'll keep that over there. Just put our money there. Whatever happens, happens. 8. All right, let's press that. All right, 15 for 1. So how much do we want to press it? Press it a unit. Collect. Maybe we'll collect some. That kind of pays for the bet. So let's do that. We'll collect that and we'll press it a unit. I think that makes sense. Now our bonus bet is well and truly paid for. Alright, so we can put that over here. Well, not well and truly, I think we're still down a few bucks, but that's okay. Maybe we'll collect another one. And we've got the 6. Alright. Here we go. $7. Press you up. Maybe I'll spread that over to the 5. Rack that one. And I've got the 9. So I'm not on the 9. So we could potentially spread out. Do that. Got the 5, of course. Went thin at the wrong time. I'll get $7. Let's press you up. Put that there. Got the 5. Alright, hot shooter. Alright, 15 for 1. Pick up that one and I'll put that back in our rack. So we're getting something for our bonus round. We've bumped it up $10 or so. That's pretty good. Well, I've got the 8. Fantastic. Alright, so I've got an extra $1 on there. That pays 15 for one. All right, we could press you up if we want to. Collect some. In fact, given where we're at, I am inclined to pull it off because that gives us quite a bit extra. And this is only a bonus. I'm not trying to make a fortune here on this. We're just doing it as a bonus play. We've played conservative, and it's kind of funny in that little bit there. We've actually made a fair bit. It's actually very rewarding this time. 6. All right. So we get 7 there. All right. We could press it. Collect $1. 9. Oh, we're not on the 9. So I'm still playing. It's a bonus round, but I'm not just treating it as a throwaway, throw the money. I'm still playing it in a way where I'm collecting. I'm not putting it all at risk as we go. There's a 5, so we're not on the 5. So maybe I should have been a bit wider. There's the 6. We love a repeater. All right, need some more reds. That's 15 for 1. All right, so we could pick up the 5 and the 9. Rack one of them. And yeah, that'll do. Oh, we've got that 6 again. Fantastic. All right, another 15 for 1. So let's pick up the 8, and we'll rack $10. All right. And there's a 7. I had a feeling it was going to come. I was almost going to pull it all down again, but that's okay. It's we didn't have too much there. 34 $34, not too bad. And we certainly got a little bit extra in our rack. So let's see where we ended up. So we know we've got 100 here. 100 here. So I can basically take that one back, get a black. In fact, I can get a black for these two as well. All right. So very, very clearly, there's our original bankroll. There's 100. And so I'll thank Rob for encouraging me to give it a shot. And we use a very modest amount, and because of the level we're at now, it is a kind of a play that we can entertain, where before we were at the very lower levels, the profit target, you know, you'd be risking a fair percentage of the profit target to play a little bonus round at the end where we've got a shooter that might be warm to hot, which a lot of our sessions, we actually, just as we got a good shooter, that's when we actually recovered our losses and we made some profit. And and then we kind of then took our action down because we hit our target, being very, very diligent. But then we missed a potentially longer roll. Now those rolls were, you know, they're done just as a bit of a laugh because, you know, it's not going to be exactly those rolls would have rolled. But it just shows when you actually get on a shooter that's doing the right thing. It typically might be at the very end of your session where everything goes right for you and you make your profit. And well, by just using a very, very modest percentage, you know, we hit our minimum target of 20%, which was $100. We had a little bit left over. We used that, and then look how much we've collected. We've collected another 75, 80, $83, where I think we only had somewhere around 15 or something. So that's a great outcome. Fantastic. Very, very happy with that. Now, what this means, if I take this over here, this was our remaining bankroll, which was at the 410. Now bring that up to 500. So that's 5. So we've got 500, 500, 500, and our session bankroll 500. So we've hit our $2,000. Not only that, we've actually gone a little bit further. We've almost got ourselves, so 2,080.93. Right, so pretty happy with that. I'm actually just going to take that exact money there. I'm going to actually put that into my bankroll. Use that as my session bankroll. So now we're actually be pretty much playing it close to a $600 session bankroll. All right, so pretty close to a $600 session bankroll. I'll leave that there. That's actually pretty cool. So these are all $500 bankrolls in reserve should we have a disastrous session. Now we've got some staying power. We can you know, if we have some adverse events, we can recover. You know, to think we've built ourselves up from $100, you know, from such a poverty level of $100. You know, it's kind of insane to think. And we've taken our $100 back out, plus some profit, 20% profit, which was $20. So we've taken that out. We're already a winner from that. Now we're just really discussing the degree of winning, and the fact that we've got to this level. I'm pretty stoked about it. It hasn't been easy. I've got to say, it's been pretty tough. Sometimes I'm sweating bullets. I'm really trying to work out what's the best call here. I'm trying to vocalise what I'm thinking as I'm playing, to try and give you guys some insight into why I'm doing certain things. So something seems to be working. I'm not always playing it perfectly. I don't think it's possible to play it perfectly. You do have to take some gambles. You do have to take some larger risks. On the last two sessions, I did make some pretty bold plays. I was playing these guys at like $102. I don't have another white there, but at $102. And as a proportion of our overall bankroll, that was in the comments. As a proportion of our overall bankroll, that's actually less risk than what we were playing at when we started with $100, and when we were playing $100 at that level. That's 17% risk. With what we had in our overall bankroll, we were actually less than that risk. We're actually down at 16%. So it wasn't, you know, in the scheme of things, it's not terrible. It's still not a risk it's not something you want to do too often, but sometimes you do have to do that to recover your losses. But you also notice that I didn't spread myself across the risk. So you can spread yourself across. You know, you could take, you say 200, and you could be spread, you know, like this across lots of numbers, right? You could be spread across. So even though you're risking 200, what's the return going to be? Now the return is actually quite low because you're spread thin. And so I'm not doing that. I was actually concentrated, but still concentrated enough that my probability of success versus the 7 is still in my favour. 10 combinations versus 6. I still have a mathematical, for whatever that's worth, a mathematical advantage against the 7. Yes, my loss is going to be higher than my return, and it always will be when you're spread on two numbers. But you know, I'm actually getting a fairly good chunk for my risk versus being spread out thin. That's why I'm playing the 5, 6, 8. That's why after 2 hits I'm actually in the profit. If I'm trying to play the insides, I need 3 hits as a minimum to get even and maybe a little bit of profit. So there's a reason why I'm playing this. It gives me the 70% versus 30 on the 7, and we've seen even with a 70-30 advantage, that 7 will still kill you, even though it's the little guy, relatively speaking, probability wise. It still manages to punch above its weight a lot of the time. So anyway, I'm probably going to go and have a beer now after playing that, because I've hit my $2,000 target. In fact, blown the doors off it. Got to 280, what was it? 280, sorry, 293. Okay. So 293. Sorry, what am I saying? Not 293, 2093. That's what I meant to say. So there it is, milestone reached. Now onwards and upwards from here. I did touch it on my last video. From here, what I want to do is I want to build another bankroll, and I want to take these up to the $600 level. By having 4 at 600, right, that's going to be 2,400 plus the 600 that I'm playing with. That's $3,000. So by the time I get this second bankroll, or this, sorry, 4th bankroll built to the $600 level, or get them all built to the $600 level because they're only at 500 currently, that will be our $3,000 target. So basically that's kind of the idea. Every sort of milestone, whether it's 1,000 or might be 2,000, you know, we might go from 3 to, might be 5,000, might be the next one. But as we're building up, you know, we'll be adding more of these, you know, more of these, and trying to raise them up so they're fairly close to what we're playing with in our session bankroll. So that's the general plan, and yeah, we're well on our way. So appreciate you watching, and look forward to your comments and feedback. Bye for now.